All right, got to make room for the house, so let's slide this tent over here. Give it a little rotate. Get rid of this campfire. That should give me some room with the house. Oh, yeah, baby. I have a house now. Oh, I don't have a house. I have a foundation. Upgrade. Do I just click on this? Nope. I guess I upgrade. Oh. This is going to take a while, huh? Hello, Internet Magic Man here once again from MMOBomb.com, bringing you another first look video. This time it's for Palia, the so-called cozy MMO from the team over at Singularity 6. It's a free-to-play game in open beta on the PC with a Nintendo Switch release coming later. We're going to spend some time in here checking out the game, giving you our first impressions. If you like this type of content, make sure you click subscribe, turn on those notifications, leave a comment, let us know what you're thinking about Palia. You know how. Feed that algorithm while we catch a wagon wheel doing some fishing. Palia is brought to you by Singularity 6, a smaller team based out of Los Angeles, California, made up of members of previous dev companies, including Riot Games. And while Palia might be their first bigger foray, it by no means is indie from the looks of it. Palia's got a lot of good things going on for it. If you like things like Animal Crossing and those types of games where you're going to be doing a lot of gathering, a lot of crafting, fishing, catching bugs, establishing and growing relationships, I should say, with NPCs, then Palia's probably got a lot for you. Now, the game is in open beta, though, so expect some performance issues, some longer loading screens occasionally, and a few other snags with hitboxes and things. Sometimes you can jump over stuff, sometimes you can't, and hopefully a lot of that will get worked out in the open beta here. Story-wise, you are a human arriving out of nowhere in the world of Palia, and you are greeted by a lot of NPCs that, right off the bat, just kind of arm you to your teeth. Here's a pickaxe, here's an axe, here's a fishing rod, here's a bow and arrow, here's some smoke bombs so that you can go hunting, you can catch bugs, you can do all of this stuff, gaining new recipes along the way to make bigger and better things, whether that's for your home, equipment, or otherwise. Or you just want to make a good meal. Now, your housing plot itself, where you will be doing most of your own personal construction for your quarters, your tent, your house, and other items, this is a private zone. Yes, you can have friends and others come to the zone, but this is not part of the public map. The other portion of the game is, of course, out on that public map, of which there's a few different maps that are interconnected, and mostly it turns into finding that NPC that you're looking for, because they all do have lives of their own and at different times, maybe in different areas, doing different things. So don't expect to just run back to a quest giver at their house every single time you're ready to turn something in. And you'll be exploring these maps to determine where certain resources spawn, where you can farm them, and this does create a little bit of an open beta problem that I hope will get worked out later, in the fact that some resources are harder to find, the map is shared, and so sometimes there's some competition for these items, particularly when you've made some more advanced patterns or blueprints and you try to build some things. If you like the cozy aspect of those games, like I mentioned, like Animal Crossing or other survival games where you're just kind of on your own building, then Palia is really going to hit a good spot for you. It's definitely a game that you can jump in with friends and kind of just get lost in whatever you're doing. Now, you are going to have to take that with timers, right? This is a game based on timers like other crafting and gathering type games. And initially, your house, after spending an hour or an hour plus building enough wood and brick to build a house, you're then going to have an 8-hour wait to build your house, and some of those clocks in open beta don't seem to make a lot of sense to me. Hopefully some of them will change. I don't know why building a house takes 8 hours and then building a hallway for that house also takes 8 hours. Whether you're refining materials into bricks or wood, or you're building more complex items so that you can actually make more and more down the road, those timers are going to be in effect. And we will talk about Cash Shop in a little bit, but you don't really have to worry. It's not monetized in that mobile sense where you can buy time skips or stamina or materials. The cash shop is exclusively cosmetic. We'll cover that in a few minutes. Keyboard controls are typical WASD movement with spacebar to jump. You've got a sprint function and a climbing function that uses a stamina bar, much like Zelda Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. Now, you can sprint as much as you want, but when it comes to climbing, you'll be limited. And honestly, climbing is a little janky. So is jumping over things sometimes. Some bushes that you'll swear you could run through or jump over actually end up having a bigger hitbox than you thought, and you can't, while a very similar bush or fence you'll be able to jump over. There's a lot of that in this game, those little quirks. And while the gameplay itself is fun, whether you're gardening, whether you're cooking, or doing any of those things, I do get the feeling it's a little disjointed or just not quite fully fleshed out. I'll give you some examples. NPCs are wonderful in this game, and I love the art aesthetic. Those both work for me. And there's a little bit of a main quests type situation where you're trying to find out the history of Palia and where humans have gone and past energy sources, but most of your quests are interacting with NPCs or crafting or gathering other items and moving along this pacing that the game forces you to do. And that's cool. While you're interacting with the NPCs, you have dialogue options, and they're indicated by little elemental status signals. So a fire personality, which they describe by mousing over the fire icon, might answer this way, and they give you a little bit of idea if you want to do some role-playing. There's also relationship statuses with these NPCs as well. The more you talk to them, the more you interact with them, the more you complete their weekly, hey, I would really like to have this item. If you happen to have one, would you give it to me? Your relationship will increase with them, ultimately culminating in the ability to romance many of them, at least the ones that aren't already engaged or married with another NPC. While this system is cool, and I like that type of stuff, including the elemental stuff and the relationship stuff, they don't really seem to go anywhere yet, and that's where Palia falls a little short for me right now. It almost feels like a late alpha, very early closed beta, not an open beta. And maybe that's Singularity 6's goal or objective here is to have the game develop with the feedback of the players. While that's great, I'd really hate to see this turn into something later where, oh man, I really wish I would have established more relationship with that NPC versus this one, or answered more fire-based with fire-based emotion than water-based emotion. If those systems kind of come back to bite you a little bit later, I'm not really going to like that, considering that it's, an open beta. I don't want to screw myself out of anything early or make things harder for me later down the road, simply because the game is a bit bare bones now as far as interconnectivity, and you really don't know what might do or impact things later. If you're looking to play the game with a controller, it's coming. There's a menu for it, but you can't adjust any hotkeys. And if you connect a controller to Palia right now, it will work for some things. You'll be able to control and the camera and stuff, but menus are a no-go, and a lot of other things are just not working at all yet. So that one's coming soon. It's not currently in the open beta here. Native support is inside the game. It's just not fully available, flushed out, or customizable yet. So you're going to have to wait. In-game currencies include gold and renown. Those are two things you will farm up through basic gameplay, and the cash shop's currency is Palia coins. Now, gold is relatively easy to obtain, but you're going to need it in bigger and bigger amounts. You'll always feel like you're chasing the next objective, and then you're poor again. Renown is earned through doing quests and can be used to buy other things as well. Now, the Palia coins are only used in the cash shop, and they're only used for cosmetic items. If you buy them in the base 1,000 Palia coins package, they're a coin per penny, and that's fine. I wish they didn't use this stupid currency conversion thing, though, because looking at the prices, you can see that all your cosmetic items usually range from about $12 to as high as like $20 for, or $8 or $9 to about $15, sorry, for an individual shirt or pants, and then bundles going for like $24 to $35 or $40. Cosmetics are expensive. That's all that's in the cash shop. And you can tell that that's really where they're taking the monetization here, because your beginning cosmetic options are pretty limited. Now, they have tweeted that they are going to be adding more cosmetic options to the game, but they have not specified yet whether those will be exclusively in the cash shop, or if there'll be a mix of some new starting options and some for the cash shop. I really wish Palia would just give you the ability to just buy a shirt. If you want to overprice it, that's fine. I can buy it or not buy it if I deem it to be worth the $10 or $20 you're asking for. But because they do the Palia coin free-to-play conversion thing, you do, of course, end up in the scenarios where you're either just a few Palia coins shy and you gotta buy the next big bundle so that you can maximize the economy of your purchase, or you buy something and you have a few hundred Palia coins left over, making that next purchase just that much psychologically easier to do because, hey, you already have 300 or 400 of the Palia coins. As a net package here, there's a lot of fun to be had in Palia if you like this type of game. If you're looking for something more in-depth with combat, dungeons, and things like that, this isn't going to be it for you. If you're looking for a way to waste a Saturday afternoon with a friend or two, doing some farming, doing some building and gathering and cooking and things like that, there's a lot of fun to be had here. And there's actually benefits to playing with some other people, even though it's a little janky on making sure you're all in the same areas right now when you do group up with friends. And the game doesn't exactly tell you in the best way, hey, there are benefits to working together. The game doesn't necessarily have a real drive to force you into multiplayer action right now. So it's just going to be you and a friend wondering, hey, what happens if we party up? There are benefits to be had, whether you help me cook something, we all take part in the rewards, or we're all going after and gathering something. It's a nice, cozy, I've heard that word a million times describing this game, gathering and crafting experience with some neat systems, even though inventory is going to be a pain in the butt. However, your inventory expansions are not bought through the cash shop. It's straight gold, but you'll be farming up gold for a while for that second and third one, depending on what you're selling to NPCs or helping other people obtain. If you like Palia and if you've been in the open beta, let us know how you feel about the game in the comments below. I'm having a lot of fun with it, gardening my onions, but damn, I'd really like the ability to cancel gardening. Palia, give me cancel gardening if I've planted the wrong thing or I want to change my mind. This is Magic Man from MMOBomb.com saying stop over, review Palia on our pages for your fellow players, and stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.